Oh man, we're gonna kick it. He said with the rhinos, them deep state shields, them war hawks, we're gonna ride and slide down the slide, and you better not have that ditty all. Man, what they say about them neocons? Those neocons. The Trump campaign is rocking and rolling already. I told y'all we hitting that thing running. Trump is sprinting. We sprinting, y'all. We sprinting. We ain't jogging. We ain't walking. We ain't out of breath, tired. Pass me my asthma pump. We on that thing. I'm trying to tell y'all about to get ready. Y'all about to get ready. I'm going to be here to cover it. I told you. Nikki Haley, Mike Pompeo. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust.
Committed a crime.
What are you talking about?
Threatening me. It was in my car. With my dog sitting next to me. I'll never forget this. And I said, are you really saying that to reveal that the U.S. government had a role in the murder of a democratically elected president, to say that out loud, that's the crime? What about the actual crime, which is murdering a president? Like, you're covering up for that, Mike Pompeo.
What did he say to that?
He had no response at all. And so Mike Pompeo is the one who pressed Trump to keep those documents secret. And so it's like, what's crazy to me is not just that Pompeo did that. I think Pompeo is a really sinister person and a criminal. I think that because the facts suggest that. He was caught. Yahoo News, Mike Isikoff wrote a long piece on this several years ago. His employees went to Mike Isikoff and said, hey, Mike Pompeo is plotting to murder Julian Assange, who's never even been charged with a crime in the United States, as CIA director. That's illegal. You're not allowed. Federal employees are not allowed to just kill people they don't like. Okay, just to set the baseline here. So that's who Mike Pompeo is. But he somehow intimidated Trump into not releasing this. Well, okay, that's all bad, right? I think it's criminal behavior.
We want to thank you, Fox. Fox, you did such an amazing job getting rid of Tucker Carlson. We appreciate you. We getting all. I tell you, it's gonna all come out. I told you that the truth will fulfill itself, and what fulfill itself will fulfill itself. Amen. Hallelujah. All right, you guys. Now, as we get deeper into this video, I want to give y'all the full context, man. But I want y'all to hear this clip of Trump, man. And this is one reason why I told y'all this second term is gonna be completely different. I hope y'all are listening. I really do. This second term gonna be completely different, man. You know, we're actually here to make America great again, baby. Check this out.
I didn't really know anybody in Washington. I was a New York person. I wasn't like a Washington, D.C. person. And all of a sudden I'm president and I'm driving down Pennsylvania Avenue with more police and motorcycles and military than I've ever seen before in my life. I said to my wife, do you believe this? I'm president. But I didn't know anybody in Washington. And I had to rely on people to give me names. And many were really good. I mean, Bob Lighthizer, I had great trade people. I had some great people. But I also picked people that, in retrospect, I wouldn't have picked. But now I know the smart ones, the dumb ones, the weak ones, the solid ones, the ones like you. I know the people. I know everybody, sort of like everybody. And we're going to have a great government. I didn't know. I had to rely on people I'd ask, I don't want to use names because I don't want to embarrass, they're not bad people, but I'd ask people that were rhinos, who do you recommend for such and such a position? All important positions. And they'd recommend some people that were rhinos or something, or weak or not good. And I don't have to ask too much right now. I know the people, and I've known them through fighting and wars. I've known them through, because all this stuff. I had great support. Don't forget, I beat Nancy Pelosi. I beat all these people, every one of them. And somebody said, you know, if you look at it, he beat the Clinton family, right? And that was really Obama too, because he was behind her 100% like he was running. And I beat the Bush family. I beat everybody. And now I beat Biden. I got him out. I beat him twice, actually. I beat him the first time, but Now I beat him a second time because it was the debate that got him out. And now I have to beat somebody that nobody ever heard of, who's a Marxist. And I think I'll be able to do that. But I know the people now. I've been in government now for 8 years. I was in government for no years. I mean, I became president and I said, I've never done this before. It's pretty, sort of a miracle.
All right, Patriots, it's time to sober up. It's time to sober up. Y'all been off that dark and that clear. Some of y'all been off that apple cinnamon pie moonshine. It's time to come on down now. We got to be real, okay? Oh, them damn neocons. Them damn neocons. Whoa! What y'all think about this whole situation? Comment down below, man. I got to just break it to y'all, man. I got to break it to y'all, man. We getting them gone. We starting this thing off nice and strong. We hitting the ground running. I told you, he is sprinting right now, y'all.
First debate, she said that only a woman can get this job done. That's what she said. After the third debate, when I criticized Ronna McDaniel after 5 failed years of leadership of this party, and criticized Nikki for her corrupt foreign dealings as a military contractor, she said that I have a woman problem. Nikki, I don't have a woman problem. You have a corruption problem. And I think that that's what people need to know. Nikki is corrupt. This is a woman who will send your kids to die so she can buy a bigger house. This is the problem. Using identity politics more effectively than Kamala Harris is a form of intellectual fraud. And it actually needs to end. There's our donor puppet masters wielding their puppet right up here tonight. This is how this game is played. The puppet masters put up their puppet, and I reject the use of identity politics in this party. It has been a cancer coming from the left, and I'm sick and tired of the double standards. The people of this country are too. Having 2 X chromosomes does not immunize you from criticism.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And Vivek Ramaswamy, I told you. Y'all know he was in our top 3 when it came to VP picks. So it was.
On what Donald Trump is facing, and is it right to charge him?
Brian, good morning. Great to be with you. 2 things I think are both true at this point. First, if the allegations are true, and there's lots of indications that they are, President Trump had classified documents where he shouldn't have had them, and then when given the opportunity to return them, he chose not to do that for whatever reason. That's just...
Oh, Mike. Oh.
Brian, you talked about me having classified documents. I handled thousands and thousands of them over my time in Congress and then as a CIA director and Secretary of State. I suppose we can all make mistakes and get them to the wrong place, but when somebody identifies that, you got to turn them in. And so that's inconsistent with protecting America's soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. And if the allegations are true, some of these were pretty serious, important documents. And so that's wrong.
On what Donald Trump is...
Oh, Mike. Oh, buddy. Yeah, y'all. Telling you, man. Getting real.
On foreign policy, for example, you see names like Senator Bill Hagerty, Senator Marco Rubio, former Ambassador Rick Grenell, all people who identify with Trump's vision, but those who have had issues with Trump in the past about how he perceives foreign policy, like, for example, former Ambassador Nikki Haley or former Secretary Mike Pompeo, are now out of the process. And it's not because of any personal trouble with Trump, I'm told. It's because at the end of the day, Trump wants to make sure things are moving along smoothly on ideological and policy lines come January.
Do we know what it was with Mike Pompeo, who served him quite loyally for 4 years as CIA director and Secretary of State? Was it his support, for example, of Ukraine?
It's just a different orbit around Trump right now. Elon Musk has Steve Bannon on the outside advising him. These are people who are not interventionists. These are people who aren't traditional Republican hawks. That's not to say some hawks won't end up in this administration, or some Wall Street figures might end up in this administration as well. I'm told by my sources that the president-elect is not ruling out mainstream Republicans or more centrist Republicans from joining his team. But at this point, he's moving quickly to make sure his base, his party, in his image is reflected in the personnel picks fully.
What are his priorities for the first 100 days, or is that too traditional a way of thinking about it?
No, they have a real agenda this time. You remember in 2017, it was somewhat sporadic in how they moved and navigated on health care and taxes. They are moving quickly already behind the scenes to expand the Trump tax cuts, to institute sweeping tariffs across the board.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, buddy.
Pierre revealed Trump and
begin this second hour with a Fox News alert. This is a good one for President Trump. It's our final call of the 2024 presidential race. President-elect Trump has officially flipped Arizona, adding that to his historic win.
That means Trump sweeping all 7 battleground states, lifting his total number of electoral college votes to 312, the most won by a Republican presidential candidate since 1988.
1988. Like I told y'all. What did I tell y'all in our election maps this time? Go back and check them out. What did we say? We said 312. We said this. We said that. We brought up the most accurate pollsters. People that predicted the 2020 election spot on. Now, they didn't have 81 million votes, but just saying. People that called the 2016 election. We brought out the most accurate sources, and we told you it's most likely going to be between 312 and 330. And there it is, y'all. Historic. I told you if it was a fair, free election, it was going to be historic. And we were going to walk away. We were going to clean house in battleground states. I told you guys this. I wish y'all would listen to me.
This comes as White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre revealed Trump and Biden will meet in the Oval Office on Wednesday. Meanwhile, demonstrations popping up in cities like New York and Seattle, protesting the election and fears over deportations and threats to reproductive rights.
Here we go.
So let's talk a little bit, you guys, about the Biden-Trump meeting on Wednesday. What do you think is going to happen there? Because there's been a lot of speculation. You remember Jill Biden actually wore a red suit to go vote, and everyone thought that was sort of like a signal that maybe she was voting for Trump. They're mad. So how do you think this meeting with Biden and Trump goes?
What?
Oh, I thought, well, Will was looking at Rachel, and I thought maybe he was disagreeing that Biden voted for Trump. I find it hard.
No, I don't know. I admit.
Who knows? But
no, I think, who knows? I mean, think of all the things that Biden said about Trump, what a threat he would be to the existence of our country, threat to democracy, all of those his people are all garbed. I think that'll all wither away ultimately, actually, and Biden will likely be gracious. Trump will be gracious. The reality is what it is. Trump's taken over.
do they normally meet this early?
Yeah, this is a pretty standard thing.
Okay.
Really, I mean, because the incoming administration is starting to is transitioning into what roles they want for their top folks, and the coordination begins.
I also think that Donald Trump has shown a consistent characteristic of remembering disloyalty, but forgetting a hard fight. What I mean by that is he understands. He understands that there is a game to be played, and it will be a vicious game. But when he and Ron DeSantis are done fighting, he's done being mad at Ron DeSantis. It seems, by the way.
Yeah.
And you could kind of go down the list, right?
Yeah.
And if you even notice in the past month, he'd moderated or softened a bit in his rhetoric towards Joe Biden and started to feel bad for Joe Biden in some ways about what had been done to him by the Democratic Party. So this isn't the same Joe Biden that on a day-to-day basis screamed about democracy and stood in front of the red wedding banners and gave speeches about the end of America. It's a different Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And
Who's playing the game.
Who's playing the game. And I have a feeling that what I'm getting at is setting up this meeting won't be quite
I totally agree.
The anger fest you might expect from what the rhetoric during a campaign for presidency.
He told you as much when we had that interview with him, guys, at Bedminster. He said, one of the things that surprised him so much the last time he won was he did think it was like the UFC fighters that, they're really mad at each other. And then when the thing's over, it's over. And, remember, he came out saying, after he won, he said, she's no longer, what was his nickname for Hillary? Crooked Hillary.
Crooked Hillary, yep.
Then he said, no, she's beautiful Hillary. And then he said he was really shocked at the fact that the Democrats didn't let him win, didn't let him, do what he was supposed to do after, and that they kept trying to undermine him and using the deep state and the intel agencies to do that. He was shocked by that. But I think you're right. There's something, as tough as he is, there's something very gracious about him. And I can imagine these two who are very generationally similar I think are going to have a good meeting. And I think they both have the same beef with the establishment of the Democrat Party.
Yeah, and I also don't want to skip over that 312 number. We didn't know if we'd be calling the election by now. Instead, we're just calling the final state that adds to the final number of 312. And we made that historical allusion to 1988. You know, it wasn't that George H.W. Bush was an amazing candidate that everyone was so fired up about. It was that Ronald Reagan had inspired a nation and changed a map. And I think Donald Trump single-handedly did that himself as well. To fight back and get back to where he was, run the race again, considering what's been done against him, and then win 312 is a reflection of, it's a manifestation of a political movement that is here to stay, that's reoriented and changed the balance. So we're going to get to Nancy Pelosi and this whole working class party thing. Donald Trump really did change voting patterns for generations of Americans, which will help future Republicans as well.
It's not George W. Bush's party anymore. It's not George Herbert Walker's party anymore. The party is completely different. And this thing that Donald Trump did of winning, having so much go up against him, and then coming back from the ashes is really like an epic hero's journey. And I think all of us have been along for that ride, and it's been fascinating to watch.
The other thing I don't want to skip past is the last line in setting up our conversation for this hour, and that is that there have been some scattered protests across the country in places like New York or Seattle. I think one of the big takeaways that you hear from a lot of people is, but it's not like you thought it would have been. It's actually been much more muted, and we've had some discussions about why that might be. When you get blown out in a football game, you're more come over with depression than you are anger. If you lose in a tight game and there's a controversial call by the referee, you're angry. But if you get blown out 42-7, it's just really depression. But there is some scattered protests in New York or Seattle. And in my mind, that is motivated by an insanity fed by mainstream media about things like your reproductive rights are going to go away the day after. And you're seeing this insanity play out in a lot of places. Some women have shaved their head. And as we're going to get to in a moment, some suggesting you cut off relationships with others who might have voted for Donald Trump.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I mean,
It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, man. It is an absolute disgrace. But told y'all, we were hitting the ground running, man. The Trump campaign, the Trump team, rocking and rolling, y'all. We ain't even in there yet. But let me know what y'all think of all this, man. You know, a lot of people are saying to keep it going. Say no to all these whack jobs. They got Pompeo, people, Haley, you know, these neocons. Neocon whack jobs. Someone says also, and keep Lindsey Graham far away as well. No rhinos allowed. Boy, even some people are in the comments mentioning Marco Rubio. Oh boy. But let me know what y'all think of all this, man. All I can do is break it to you, keep you guys updated. Yeah, but I love y'all, and I will catch you beautiful people in the next one. Peace and love, y'all.